Okay, GST stands for Goods and Services Tax, and it's 15%. GST exclusive means there is no GST in the price. To add GST, we multiply by 1.15. To calculate the GST, given a GST exclusive amount, we multiply by 15 and divide by 100. But to calculate GST, given a GST inclusive amount, we multiply by 15 and divide by 115. If we want to just remove the GST, we divide by 1.15. So it's one of the skills. Let's have a look at a GST calculator. So here, if I have $100 as my GST exclusive price, then the GST inclusive price will be $115, and the GST amount is $15 because $15 is 15% of $100. So that's the simplest case. So for example, if I clear this and I say I have $200, I can add the GST. The GST, to get GST, I times by 15 and divide by 100 to get 30. And here, to get the GST inclusive, to go straight from there to there, I can just go 200 plus 30, or I can just times by 1.15. If I clear it, and I actually have a GST inclusive price, for example, 345, I can get the, 345, I can get the GST of $45 and the GST exclusive would be 345 minus 45 would be 300. If I had a GST amount of $50, or let's make it $60, give us nice round numbers and get prices, that would have been a $400 GST exclusive plus 60 gives me GST inclusive. So let's just have a look at that. If I get a little pen and let's that. Okay, if we're going from the 100 to get the 15, this is the purple arrow, we need to times by 15 and divide by 100. So if we want to go back the other way, we need to, so that's times, I'll do times as asterisks. To go back the other way, we need to divide by 15 over 100, which is the same as timesing by 100 and dividing by 15. Okay, because it undoes it. Here, if we want to get from the $100 to the 115, we times by 1.15. So that's multiplication. So just to make sure that it doesn't look like a plus, I'll do it like an asterisk. And likewise, to get from the 115 to 100, we undo that. So that is divide by 1.15. Okay, the green one. To get from 115 to the $15. So this is already GST inclusive. So the GST amount is actually we would have had to have times by 15 over 115 to get there because the GST is out of the 115 GST inclusive. Likewise, to go this way, we need to times by the reciprocal, turn it upside down, so times by 115 and divide by 15. So if I take this, divide by 15, I get 1, times by 115, I get that. That works. It works every which way. So, what have we learned? To find the GST of a number, we simply times by 15 divided by 100. If we have the GST amount and we need to find the actual amount, we do the opposite. We times by 100 and divide by 15. So if we've got a GST inclusive, so it already has GST, to find out the GST exclusive, we need to divide by 1.15 and to go from GST exclusive to inclusive, we times by 1.15. Okay, and then to get from here to here, that's the arrow here, we need to do that one. So you can see this can all just end up as a giant mess. So you need to find a way that you can consistently get the right answers. The best way to check it would be perhaps to use this, but you can't use that in the actual exam. Okay. The most common thing you probably get is to go from being given an exclusive amount, so maybe something like that, and you need to add the GST. So to get this number, oh, amount of GST only, look at that, isn't that clever? You're going to times by 15 and divide by 100 to get the GST amount. And getting from here to here, we're just multiplying by 1.15. Now, I want to show you that because I want to show you rounding. So if I've got 786.45 times by 1.15, we have got a bit of a rounding issue there. We need it to be two decimal places, one decimal place, two decimal places. So because that's 7, so it's 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, this 1 becomes 2. So by calculating the GST inclusive amount and rounding it, you can get 2 ticks. Okay? Now, let's just have a look at a different situation, and that is where you're given, say something's going to be sold for that, we need to find the GST. So this is quite a common thing. So finding the GST from a GST inclusive amount is a bit weird. So you've got 876.55. It's not 15%. You added 15% on, but it was 15% of the original amount. So to find the GST amount, we actually need to go, well, it's 15 out of the 115. Now, for inland revenue, they will tell you to go 876.55 times 3 divided by 23. That's just a simplified fraction. It's the same thing. One decimal place, two decimal places. You can see here that it's rounded correctly. Okay, so if you put that, draw that, copy this number onto your paper, exam paper, and then round it, even though you've only truncated, that's still a point for rounding. You've done it correctly. So that could give you 2 ticks. Good luck.